What up, party people? Me again, Wall Street. And Donte DiVincenzo and the New York Knicks have beef, which became evident after their preseason game at Madison Square Garden, where Donte was just talking some smack, loose lipping it, crazy. And I think there's some hurt feelings on both sides, and it seems like a lot of his comments were directed at the Knicks coaching staff as opposed to the players. As far as who he was really talking about or to during his comments, it seems like he was kind of talking about Tibbs, but he was also talking about Rick Brunson, who's an assistant coach for the Knicks, obviously is also Jalen Brunson's father. And I don't know, some of the comments that at least I was able to pick up on just by I could hear it pretty well during the game. I don't know if you guys could, but it sounded like, so Donte went to the rim, gets fouled, and one. Screams out and one, and then he goes to the line, starts looking at the Knicks bench, and he says, can't finish right, like talking to Tibbs. And then there's someone on the bench, I think, says something back to him. I think it was Rick Brunson, but you can't really see, and the camera's not on him. You see Donte kind of being like, oh, okay. And after that, Donte says something on the lines of I think he said to Jalen about, this is what happens when they let you run the show. And I was kind of like, is he saying that he's running the show now in Minnesota? Because that's clearly not the case. He's not running the show. They made this trade to give Anthony Edwards more leeway to do whatever the he wants, frankly. That's kind of what this trade was. I mean, obviously there was financial reasons involved as well, but it's not like Donte's going to come into Minnesota and have a much larger role than he would have had last year with the Knicks. The only new addition is because of Mikal Bridges, obviously, and I think Donte was upset initially that he was probably going to have to come off the bench more. He's probably going to have to sacrifice some of his minutes to play with Mikal, which I still don't really understand. I would have tried to figure out ways to kind of have their lineup work better, maybe run them in, two-man groups even. Obviously, Mikal or Donte, one of them had to start on the Knicks, but if you're going to pick one or the other, you should probably, sub out two of the other, power friendship guys, Jalen and Josh, leave Mikal in after that first stint, and then let Donte come in so they're all at least playing with each other, because that's what I thought the whole point was. You have this group of guys who all played on national title teams in college. And you see the success that they had last season without Mikal. Now you have Mikal. So you've added another piece that's familiar with playing with this group, even though they haven't played together in the NBA. I just don't understand why they decided to make this trade. I think you have the opportunity to get Karl Anthony Towns. It's great, but you're just giving up a lot of chemistry, and I think it's, who knows how the other players think. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Jalen and Josh and Mikal were all kind of upset that Donte, got forced out. But that's why there has to be something that's going on behind the scenes, because I don't think you make a trade this close to the start of the season unless you really are okay, we're going to be in a bad position, just mentality wise, if we leave someone like this on the team. So I mean, Donte is kind of I don't want to say he's a hothead. He's just passionate, which I respect, and he just had the best year of his career. So I can understand why he's mad, but to direct it at Rick Brunson, which happened after the game, you can kind of see they had to kind of be separated and things of that nature. And Donte, I could kind of see that he was saying that he wasn't talking to Rick Brunson when he was making the comments, when he was at the free throw line, talking trash in the game, what have you. But I think Rick Brunson was no, you're talking to my team, you're making comments about my son, you're doing things like that. This involves me now. And I didn't personally see Donte say anything about like I saw some stuff on Twitter and YouTube that was like, oh, Donte said something to Jalen about like, this is what happens like when your daddy lets you run the team or whatever, which like, that's just a low blow, dude. Like, especially like these guys have been friends for so long that it's just kind of like hard to see like that they're letting this really get in the way. It's like they're all still in the NBA. They're all still making a lot of money. I think it's just the NBA is a business. And, from the reports that I saw, it sounded like Donte wanted a bigger role. And if they can't give him that, I think it's honestly more of a blessing to him that they were willing to trade him. And they trade him to a good team. You trade him to Minnesota. They just had the best season they've had in like 20 years. So I just think the whole situation is a little sad, right? Because like it is really like last season, it was really fun to see those guys play together, and they had, all their off court, stuff that they would do, like the podcast with, Jalen and Josh, and Donte was on it a couple times, I think. Like they just have a really good sense of camaraderie, and I would hate for this like instance to like break it up, because hopefully it doesn't make them now feel like they can't trust each other. Because I feel like that's kind of what Donte is going through, where it's like, oh, like Jalen probably knew what was going on because his dad's on the coaching staff, yada, yada, whatever, which like, that's not always the case, right? And, to take shots at Jalen too, that like, some of his success is because that, his dad's on the coaching staff, like maybe, but like we saw Jalen Brunson becoming a budding star when he was in Dallas. And, his come up has been awesome. Like, I have so much respect for Jalen Brunson and how he carries himself and how he's just gone about this whole, success that he's had since becoming a part of the Knicks. And he just seems like a good dude. He seems like an honest, down-to-earth guy, doesn't really give a about that all that extra stuff. Like, he's just kind of like, I'm here to play basketball, I'm here to win. That's what I'm about, right? And I think he really enjoyed playing with, his whole group of guys. He was probably super looking forward to having, himself plus Donte, Josh, and Mikal all on the same team. Didn't work out, but, it is what it is. So I think it's going to be a very interesting, couple of regular season matchups that they have. It was awesome that they had this preseason game, especially at the Garden, like right after the trade happened. So it's going to be cool. But I want to know what you guys think. Do you think, Donte's being a little salty? Do you think this is, something that is going to brush over? You think, they're going to remain friends? What do you think is going to happen? It doesn't seem like this is an issue where you can just, go down to your local bodega and like chat about it over a bacon, egg, and cheese the Aki way. Like, that's not really what the vibe is right now. And, Donte's gonna need some new winter clothes for that Minnesota weather. Oh, I'll tell you, bro, that is not a joke. Cold out there. And it gets cold in New York too, but like Minnesota, yeah, that's different. You wake up, you have icicles dripping off your face and shit. So, you let me know what you guys think. Looking forward to the NBA season. It's going to be a doozy. Peace.